Hello, stolen cousins. Let's get right into it with some IMR scary tales. Yep. Y'all know what it is. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and comment. You can even be like, girl, you talk too much. Say whatever you want. Converse with me. We're stolen cousins for a reason. We're family. You will be honest with your real family, right? So be honest with me. All right, let's get into it, guys. Like, of course.
And I ask everyone who hears my story.
Oh, go back.
How much do you know about Japanese traditions? This is a question I ask everyone who hears my story, more than anything else, so that they know what I'm talking about. Why we do what we do, so that they understand the dimension of the mistake that my friends and I made that day. The day we opened a door we shouldn't have opened. Let me put it in context. Surely you know Candyman or Bloody Mary, right? The game to summon Hanako-san is quite similar.
Y'all playing with Urban Legends?
To start the game, you must go into the third bathroom on the third floor of the school. When you are standing in front of the door, you must say, Hanako-san, 3 times in a row. After doing so, you will hear a girl's voice telling you that she is inside the restroom. After that, you will hear someone flush the toilet, and at that moment, Hanako-san will disappear. On the other hand, there is a possibility that before you flush the toilet, a demonic hand will grab your head and pull you into the toilet together with Hanako-san, condemning you to a fate worse than death. There are some other rules, of course. It is said that you can see Hanako-san in the toilet as a little girl with a red skirt and black hair. It is also said that Hanako-san will not kill you if you are the top girl in your class. Whatever the rules are, one thing is clear. In Japan, it is normal that summoning Hanako-san, whether she appears or not, is a necessary rite when you are new in school.
Aiko, are you sure you want to do this? I must, otherwise I won't be integrated as part of the group. But what if Hanako-san catches you? Hey, don't worry, Mei, I'll be fine. Everyone goes through this. Hanako-san doesn't even exist. Yeah, you're right. You'll be fine, Aiko. You're here, Aiko. Yes, I'm ready. Great. Do you know the rules? Yes, I learned them. Excellent. Let's go in together.
We all went to the bathroom together, but when we were getting to the third door, the other girls stayed behind, and I fearfully went into the bathroom and sat on the toilet, closing the door in the process.
You can do it, Aiko. We trust you. Okay, I can do this. Hanako-san. Hanako-san. Hanako-san.
With these words said, the bathroom went into a huge silence. It was as if the cubicle had been transported to a different dimension, totally silent. I could hear nothing but my breathing.
Did you flush the
I felt that
toilet?
in the bathroom, I was alone.
How long you gotta wait before you flush the
Nothing
toilet?
happened.
Flush the
Can I
toilet!
come out?
You can flush the toilet!
Hey, tell me something.
Flush the toilet!
Hanako-san didn't show up.
I'm telling you to
should
flush the
go,
toilet.
right?
You didn't listen to the rules.
Please, answer me.
Flush the toilet.
I didn't know what was going on, but out of nowhere, I started to hear a lot of banging on the door. My
Are the
friends
girls
weren't
playing?
there. What was going on?
She didn't
From
flush
one
the
second
toilet?
to the next, the door slowly opened and the source of the sound was revealed.
You scared me. I'm sorry. It was so tempting.
I would have peed myself.
We should have filmed it. Right, Pang? I didn't want to be a part of this. It's disrespectful. We're sorry, Aiko. Come on, let's get out of here. What was that? It's coming from next door. Let me see.
You have yet to flush the
Pang,
toilet.
no, it's dangerous.
When the door opened, we all screamed with fright and fell backward in fear. It was Hanota.
Who the hell is
She
that?
was just standing next to us, laughing. Her face was totally deformed. Her skin was gray, and her eyes were wild.
Hanota! No!
Terrified, May and I ran to the door, screaming in despair as Feng stared at her friend's body. We banged on the door as hard as we could, but it was locked. What was happening? Were we locked in? Suddenly, we heard the sound of the toilet in the second cubicle. It rattled non-stop as if it was stuck.
Feng! Oh no!
I ran desperately to the source of the sound, and when we arrived, there it was. Feng was drowning in the toilet. I tried to pull her head out, but I couldn't. It was as if something invisible was holding her head, choking her. I backed away, scared, until suddenly, May said something very strange.
You don't feel like disrespecting me anymore, do you? What? May, what are you saying?
As soon as I turned around, I fell to the floor in terror. That wasn't May. That was a young girl with black hair and a red skirt. That was Hanako-san.
Little Aiko, you shouldn't have provoked me. You shouldn't play with things that you don't understand. I didn't do anything. Everyone calls you. I didn't know I was disrespecting you. Oh, but you do. Calling me for such trivial things as a game. That'll be your first and last mistake with me.
I kept my eyes closed for a few seconds, but nothing happened. In fear, I opened them. I was standing in front of the third bathroom door, about to perform the ritual.
Hanako-san.
None of my friends were here. It was all a dream.
Hanako-san.
No, it didn't feel like a dream. It was all very real.
Hanako-san.
It was as if I had been transported to a parallel universe and came back here.
Hanako-san.
At that moment, I realized something terrible. While I was thinking about what was happening, my mouth was saying Hanako-san in front of the door.
Hanako-san.
I couldn't stop saying it. I tried to run to get out of there, but nothing worked.
Hanako-san. Hanako-san. Hanako-san.
It was as if my body was not mine. As if something was controlling it to say Hanako-san in front of the door.
Hanako-san.
Suddenly, my body stopped and stopped saying things. I just froze in front of the bathroom door.
Hanako-san. 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 Hanako-san.
It began to open slowly from inside. I heard a tetric voice.
I'm here.
Before I could react, a terrifying hand came out from inside the toilet and grabbed my head, trying to pull me inside the toilet, trying to drown me. I used all the resistance I could, but nothing worked. I was exhausted. I was swallowing so much water, I couldn't do anything.
Nasty ass toilet
I
water.
alone had entered a game I was never going to win. I had provoked something I didn't even understand, just to make other girls like me. Desperate, I was losing the last of my breath,
Popularity
when
is
as if
a
nothing had
curse.
happened, it was all over. The hand had stopped. I ran out of the bathroom, pushing the door, and on the other side, my friends were there, scared.
Hey, Aiko, are you okay? Girl, what's wrong? Did you see Hanako-san? Did she spare your life?
No, she tried to beat me up, bro.
Overwhelmed by the situation, the only thing I could do was cry with all my strength. When I told my friends everything, they thought I was playing a joke, but after seeing my face, they believed me. They were all terrified and promised themselves never to do anything like that again. When I got
Like
to
a
class,
squad of
the teacher
bad
came up to me with a
biddies.
big smile and congratulated me for obtaining the highest grade in the class.
Oh, you lucky
Terrified, I
duck.
received the grade and looked at my friends, who understood what was going on in my head. Hanako-san spares the lives of the girls who get the highest grade. If I hadn't have done so well on this exam,
You would have
who
been
knows what would have
snatched up by
happened to
the
me.
toilet, bro.
Hey
You
guys,
look
I hope
mad
you're
ugly.
enjoying the video. If so,
This was
please leave a
fire.
like. And also, a small percentage of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. If you want to support this channel and make this channel reach the 1 million mark, please consider subscribing. It's free and you can change your mind later. Enjoy.
True.
Even 20 years later, I hate being in small enclosed spaces. My name is Jason, and about 20 years ago,
So why wouldn't you
something
go down the
happened that
stairs?
remains vivid in my mind. I still wake up clammy, and my heart pounds as I feel the familiar presence of her next to me. Her breathing
who?
labored together with me in the darkness. I remember that day vividly. It was like any other day. Classes were dragging on, and I was eager to get out of school. But then my teacher, Mrs. Kravitz, said I had to stay after class for homework. She had always been a bit of a buzzkill, but I think her husband had gotten into a fight with her that morning. Talk about a major buzzkill. Walking back into the classroom after a phone call, her demeanor told me everything I needed to know about the rest of the day.
Jason, have you completed your homework?
Not yet, Mrs. Kravitz.
Well, then I'm afraid you'll have to stay after class today.
I tried to protest, but she wasn't having any of it. So I resigned myself to my fate and began packing up my things. As I was putting my books in my backpack, I noticed that Mrs. Kravitz was looking at me funny. It was the kind of look that told me I was in for a seriously trashy time this afternoon.
Is there something wrong, Mrs. Kravitz?
Your grades have been slipping, Jason. Do you want to be a failure?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Kravitz. I'll try harder.
See that you do. Now, let's get started on your homework.
And so we began working on my homework. The minutes turned into hours, and the hours turned into what felt like days. Mrs. Kravitz was a tough taskmaster, but I slogged through it. Finally, however, we were nearing the end of the assignment.
Just a few more problems and you'll be free to go, Jason.
Now, let me explain something about the school to you. This was a private school, see, so there were only a handful of students. And the school was located in a remote area, so there weren't any other buildings nearby. In other words, there was no one else around as I studied with Mrs. Kravitz. For this reason, the rest of the lights in the building had already been turned off, giving the entire school a bit of a creepy feeling. I wasn't paying any attention to that, though, since I was just happy to be done with my homework. As I stood up to put away my things, the hallway light, which was off, suddenly turned on.
What the?
I turned to Mrs. Kravitz, but she just shrugged her shoulders.
The janitor must have left it on. Go turn it off, Jason.
Sighing,
Boy.
I walked out into the hallway. The light switch
Lady.
was several yards away, so I had to walk down the length of the hallway. As I did, I couldn't help but feel like someone was watching me.
You should have just grabbed
It was a
everything. You were
feeling
already
that
going
gave me the
home.
creeps, but I told myself that it was just my imagination. Finally, I reached the light switch and turned it off. As I did, I heard a noise behind me. Turning around, I looked down the length of the hallway. At the very end of the hallway, a figure stood there in the dark, its silhouette illuminated by the soft light coming from the windows. Long, frazzled hair was the defining feature I could make out, along with some kind of long dress.
Who's there?
There was no answer, but the figure began walking towards me, slowly but methodically. I squirmed uncomfortably, but assured myself it was probably just one of my classmates playing a prank on me. As the silhouette neared the classroom door, however, Mrs. Kravitz poked her head out.
Jason, what are you doing out there? Get in here.
As she did, the figure sprung into action. Lurching towards Mrs. Kravitz, it grabbed her around the throat and dragged her, kicking and screaming, back into the classroom.
Oh.
I heard the classroom light switch flick as the room went dark, blood-curdling screams echoing through the hallway.
Oh.
I stood there, frozen in fear, not knowing what to do.
Leave?
I thought about running away, but I didn't want to leave Mrs. Kravitz behind.
You're not helping
I also
her?
thought about going into the classroom to see if I could help her, but I was too scared.
So
in the end,
leave.
I just stood there like a deer in headlights. I don't know how long I stood there, but eventually, the screams stopped. The only sound I could hear was the sound of heavy breathing coming from the classroom, and then the figure emerged from the darkness. Her face was covered in blood, and her eyes were wild. It was a girl, about my age, but I didn't recognize her. She looked at me for a moment, and I could see the madness in her eyes.
So get up out of
Finally,
there.
My body gave way as I screamed, my voice echoing through the empty hall.
Ah! Get away from me!
Turning, I lunged down the hallway towards the exit. I could hear the girl laughing
Oh my
maniacally
god.
as she gave chase. My heart pounded in my chest as I turned the corner, expecting to run out of the door and into the safety of the outside world. Instead, I ran into a brick wall. The impact knocked the wind out of me, and I fell to the ground.
Damn!
In the terror, I had taken the wrong turn and headed deeper into the school rather than toward the exit. And then I heard her laughter, a freaky sort of cackle that sent shivers down my spine. It was the laughter of someone who is truly insane. A person on the edge of the void.
Someone who's right
I
behind
picked
you.
myself up and began to run once more, stumbling as I realized I had sprained one of my ankles in the fall. Her
You're
laughter
just
suddenly
fragile,
stopped.
ain't you?
I continued to run though, till I saw a janitor's closet. I quickly ran inside, slamming the door shut behind me and locking it.
What if she's
I
in
kept
there?
the light off, silently trembling as I stayed there in the darkness. I don't know how long I was in there, but my senses began to heighten as I listened. And as I did, my heart sank as I heard the steady but heavy breathing from right next to me, inside the janitor's closet.
Told you.
To this day, I don't know how she got in there with me. I don't know if there was another entrance to the closet, or if she simply slipped in there as I ran in. All I know is that she was in there with me, and I could feel her insanity next to my body. Her breathing, her raspy breathing, it was like nails on a chalkboard.
Should have beat her.
Screaming, I threw myself out of the closet and into the hallway. I sprinted towards the exit, not looking back as I heard her laughter following me.
Get the hell away from me!
I screamed those words, but I don't know if anyone heard me. Finally, I found the exit and I ran out of the school and into the parking lot where my car was parked. The door was unlocked as I had left it, and I scrambled to grab my phone and call the police. As I did, I glanced up and I saw her figure standing at the door of the school. The police told me later that she was an escapee from a mental institution.
Damn.
They never did catch her, at least last time I checked. To this day, I half expect her to show up at my door, that freaky cackle of hers still echoing in my ears.
A mental patient escapee?
At the
Oh,
beginning of my career, I taught English in a local high school. I had just gotten married and was one of the youngest teachers in that school. It was my
Looking like
first
Zac
day,
Efron.
and I was going to my class when I saw two boys bullying a girl.
Stop it! Stop it!
She screamed so loud that everyone went quiet. Other teachers came out of their classes. Students gathered in the corridor, and all eyes were on her.
are you a
The
teacher
boys who were
or?
bullying stepped back in fear. To take control of the situation, I rushed to them.
Boys, go to your classes now, and make sure you two see me with your parents after school.
They ran away. Everyone got back to their job, and I walked to my class. I started writing my name on the board to introduce myself to my first batch of students when I heard footsteps behind me. I turned around and saw that same girl walk into my class. She sat down on the last bench, and I continued with the class.
I'm looking like one
The
today.
day went well. A few days later, when I had finally settled down with my new job and new place, a weird thing started happening. Someone left small notes stuck to my car windshield. Nothing was written on them, only a picture of a boy and a girl standing side by side holding hands. The boy had the same hair and clothes as mine, but the girl wore a wedding dress. No matter how weird the notes were, I brushed them off as a prank by a student. By the fifth note, I got a message. The sender of these notes wrote,
Why don't you notice me?
I quickly looked
What?
around. All the kids were leaving. Some were walking home in groups.
Who's there?
Suddenly, my eyes spotted this big bushy tree on the opposite side of the street. The girl from the
Disgusting.
first day was standing there. She had this big smile on her face. Her eyes were wide open. It felt so creepy the way she was watching me. I realized she was the one sending me all these love notes. Damn, I think she developed a crush on me. I was a married man and wanted no trouble with a teenage girl. So, I curled the note into a ball, threw it on the gutter, and got in my car. The girl's smile faded as she watched me drive off. I
He's
didn't
gonna
tell my wife
disrespect her.
because I thought she
Why
might misinterpret the
not?
situation. The next day, I took off and spent the entire day with my wife. We went to the club, danced, and got drunk. We had a wild night after that. The next day was a Sunday. I went to buy some groceries at the local market. My wife went along. We were picking up apples when I heard a woman call out to my wife.
You should have told.
Rhonda, how have you been?
You should have told
Hello,
your
Mrs.
wife.
Dempsey.
She introduced me to this woman who had happened to be the mayor's wife. I went to shake hands with her when that girl from school marched behind her.
You must be the new English teacher. Pamela said you helped her stand up to her bullies.
I awkwardly smiled, and the girl watched my wife from tip to toe with a blank face. My wife could sense the tension on my face, so I told the woman it was nothing huge, just my duty as a teacher.
Why didn't you come yesterday, Mr. Tamara?
As shocked as we all were by the question, my discomfort grew further.
I just need some rest. Thanks for asking, Pamela.
Will you be at school tomorrow?
Yes, I will.
She walked away with her mom, and my wife and I finished the rest of shopping. Once we got in the car, my wife asked what happened to that girl. I told her everything except for the love notes. She nodded her head
Oh
and
my
said that the girl was
God.
weird. She didn't like the way Pamela checked her out. The next day, I
That's
had
why you
just
should have
finished the
told
class
her,
and
like,
was
yeah,
going to
she
the
has a
teacher's
little
room
heart,
for
she has
lunch
a little
when
weird
I
little
heard my
crush.
name.
Mr. Tamara?
I turned around and the girl was standing right behind me, almost giving me a heart attack.
I brought cookies for you. I
No.
tried for the first time.
Thanks, but I can't take them, Pamela.
Why not? It's for you.
I don't like cookies. Thanks, anyway.
Boy,
Her
you better
face
not
shook
never
down
let
and
her
she got
see you
quiet.
eating a cookie.
I stood there awkwardly and then turned around to walk back.
Did your wife tell you to stay away from me?
What?
Why don't you understand?
What are you talking about?
You have to leave your wife. She's coming between us.
My patience drew the line there.
You
I looked
see?
her in the eye and said in a strict tone,
I'm your teacher, Pamela. You better remember that or I will call your parents.
Her eyes burned in anger. She ground her teeth like a wolf, then left me alone. I made up
For
my
now.
mind that today, once I get home, I will tell my wife about this psycho girl. But the principal held a meeting on an upcoming exam, so I had to stay a little late. Once I finally got off work, I rushed home. As I arrived on the front porch, I found the door half open. I entered the house, and it was in drop-dead silent.
Rhonda, I'm home.
I might have called out a little loud. Suddenly, I heard whimpering sobs coming from the kitchen. I followed it and saw Pamela was holding a knife at
What
Rhonda,
the
and she
bro?
was barely trying not to cry. Our eyes met, and I realized the gravity of the situation. I started talking to Pamela.
Pamela, put down the knife.
Why? So you can ditch me for her?
Okay. I'll divorce her and be with you.
Will you?
I nodded my head up and down, saying,
Yes.
Pamela slowly backed off to come towards me. When she was close, I jumped to grab the knife away, and she panicked.
Did she stab you?
I got stabbed in the shoulder.
Yep.
When the paramedics were taking me away on the stretcher, I heard Rhonda crying and Pamela ranting to the cops like a maniac.
He will live, right?
The lady cops grabbed her and started taking her away. I could hear her screams until the ambulance doors closed. She was kicking in the air, screaming at the top.
Mr. Tamara! I swear, I didn't mean to hurt you! Please! Don't hate me!
I was discharged after a month. I wanted to quit my job and shift to another place, but Rhonda stopped me. She told me that Pamela was sent to a juvenile mental institution and her family went with her. I still get nightmares where I see Pamela standing next to my bed, leaning over my face and saying,
Why don't you notice me?
Ew. Crazy. What? That was a good set of 3, right? Was it not? School can be crazy. Like I said, I do not mess with urban legends. Mm-mm. A lot of teachers get stalkers amongst girls, but the damn mental institution escapee in the school, that was crazy. So I'll say that was probably my favorite one. Comment which story was your favorite story. Feel free to go check out IMR Scary Tales and explore their page. And yeah, give me some more recommendations for some other horror horror story channels that I could react to. And yes, again, like, comment, and subscribe because we support. Why? Because support is free. Yeah, and then we're family, so support your family. Right? Yes. I love you guys. Bye.